So welcome to the free masterclass, How to Get Started in Illustration. And today we have loads and loads to cover. Full transparency, I do have at the very end a little offer for you to join my mentorship program if you want to learn more. But we already are going to cover so much today. You have absolutely no obligation to buy anything if you don't want to. It's only if you wish to get some more help to implement all the tips, then you can join us. But that's going to be at the very end anyway. All right. So first of all, is this class for you? You are in the right place if you're someone who's really exhausted and tired of Instagram and posting all the time, trying to build a profile, and it's such a painfully slow process, and you're still not seeing much results from this, not many likes or follows, and much less actual contracts from this. This is you. Say, hey, that's me in the comments, and you are in the right place because you know, there's got to be a better way, and there is. So don't you worry about that. If you are discouraged at seeing some of these ridiculous offers, like $5 for a sketch on Upwork and Fiverr and places like this, or if you're stalking the Facebook groups for picture books and things like that, I often see, you know, offers for like $200 for a picture book, things like that. It's so ridiculous and it's discouraging. We're thinking like, is this all there is to illustration? Is this as good as it gets? Well, thankfully, I'm here to tell you, no, it's not as good as it gets. There's much, much, much better. And so this class will definitely help you with that. Melkuya says, blah, me too, makes me so sad. Yeah, so sad, especially when we see people actually try to take those offers on. That's really, really sad because I just want to tell all those artists, there's so much better. You don't have to do this. And this class is especially for you if you're starting to think, is it even possible to make a living from illustration? And if it is possible, why is it happening for me? Is it because my art just sucks, right? If you've ever thought that, say in the comments, yes, I have. I mean, I have to at some point. It's hard for us artists not to take it personally when it's just not working. We always jump straight to, it must be because of the art. Because if my art was gorgeous, if I was such an expert, everyone would be lining up to buy it. So if they're not, it must be because I'm not good enough. And I recently saw a post on a forum. I'm not going to call out this person because I don't know if they want to be called out. But that person made a post on a forum saying, what do you guys think of the quality of my work? And they had a link to their portfolio saying, what do you think of this 1 to 10? I don't know if I'm just unlucky or not good enough. Every person I've shown my work to has told me that I have excellent work, but for some reason, no opportunities come. And that just broke my heart because I went to see this person's portfolio and it was gorgeous art, like seriously, 12 out of 10 gorgeous art. But this person still wasn't getting any work. And the hint that we have here of what's going on is this phrase, no opportunities come. So when I hear that, I'm thinking, okay, well, what are you actually doing to, go get those opportunities? Are you marketing your work? Are you actively trying to sell your work? Or are you just thinking, build it and they will come, right? Because art doesn't sell itself. You have to actually go out and get those opportunities. Judy says, I think I've been struggling because I'm self-taught, but I've not studied business enough yet. I mean, there's a lot of people who think you have to go to art school in order to make a living with your art. And as someone who has been to art school, I studied animation, actually, not illustration. And there was no big secret that I learned there that allowed me to be a better artist or a better business person. There was absolutely no business education that went into that at all. When it comes to learning more business and marketing and things like that, this is the same thing that you can learn yourself, or you can learn it online. You can get a mentor. Like there are ways to learn it. You don't have to go to school, and especially art school is not something that typically helps a lot, except with the confidence, because there's a lot of artists who think I'm self-taught, so I'm not good enough. Like it's a confidence thing, right? So that's the one thing that makes an actual big difference. If you're thinking, if my art was good enough, people would just come and buy it, right? I'm here to tell you, pretty art isn't enough. It's basically just a requirement to have your foot in the door in the first place, right? It's the basic requirement. But to actually build a sustainable career, it is a business, and you need strategy and you need marketing. You need to sell your art. It does not sell itself. So if you haven't put as much effort into that part yet, that is why you are struggling. That is why. And it's not the quality of your art, okay? Makuya said, I just had this conversation with another creator, and you can definitely learn business. And when you find the right type of marketing that works for you, it gets fun. Yes. I mean, at first I was like, marketing? I don't want to learn marketing. It sounds boring. But the thing is, it's so empowering. When you have that marketing knowledge, you know that no matter what kind of art, what kind of product, what kind of thing I want to get into the future, I know how to make it work because I know how to sell it. It opens so many possibilities. You know, if I want to make t-shirts, if I want to, I don't know, be a gallery artist, or if I want to sell originals, or if I want to do like basically anything that I want to do, I know I can make it work because I have this foundation of business and marketing knowledge. It honestly just freedom. Sophia said, I work as an in-house illustrator for many years, and transition is a struggle. Yes, because then you have to do the business part yourself when you're not in-house, and that can be a rude awakening. So very, very quickly, hi, my name is Vanessa. You can call me Ness. I've been a full-time freelance illustrator for 6 years, 9 years total as a professional illustrator. But just like Sophia, I worked in-house first. So I was an animator and illustrator in a mobile game studio for 3 years. And then I went and wanted to be on my own, and I did struggle for the first year. Oof, that was not an easy transition. But after you get that business knowledge from under you, then it goes a lot more better. So in the 6 years that I've been freelance on my own, in that time, I've worked with some of my dream clients like American Greetings, Scholastic, Hobby Lobby, TJ Maxx, and more. One of the ones that I want to add is Happy Planner. That's still one of my dream clients. I'm working hard for this because I want the Happy Planner. I've illustrated 7 picture books at that time. I've got signed by some great agents. I'm actually on my 3rd agent now because in 9 years, stuff happens. I've also made over 3,000 sales on Etsy. And in all that time, I've supported myself 100% with my art. I haven't had to get a day job yet. This is my day job. I'm so blessed. And in the last couple of years, I've even been able to hire my husband full-time to help me out, like with the admin stuff. He does all of my editing and some social media and a lot of the, you know, all the like accounting stuff and all of that, which is really, really great. So when you see it all like this, like all this list of achievements, it sounds more impressive than it really is. It sounds like amazing. And maybe you're thinking, okay, but like you're on another level. I can't do that. Like I'm not there. But I'm not special at all. I'm just a normal artist like you. And a few years ago, I was struggling. I was exactly where you are right now. At the beginning, I sent my portfolio to 200 plus publishers. I don't know the exact number. I spent like weeks and weeks on end just sending emails to publishers. And from that, what did I get? 0. Not a thing, not a single contract. And I had no idea why that was. So obviously the first thing I thought was, it must be because I'm horribly bad and my art is just terrible. Because that's the first thing we think of. I had no clue what I was doing wrong. I didn't know why it didn't work, and I felt terrible about myself. During that time, I tried a sort of throw spaghetti at the wall to see what would stick. I tried Fiverr, Upwork, trying to get gigs on Instagram. I tried forums, Etsy, Redbubble, Society6, like all the things, and none of it was working. I was so discouraged that I almost gave up entirely. Yeah, I'm actually so happy that I didn't, because after about like 8 to 10 months, I started getting a little bit better, thankfully, and now it's going great. So the time that it started to turn around for me is when I started learning more about marketing and taking the business side of things more seriously. Not just like going on Fiverr, but how do you actually have a business? You can do the same, okay? It's not magic. It's not difficult either. You can learn that stuff too. So you can learn about business too. And when you do, things actually get easier, not harder, okay? Because right now, probably a lot of you are spending a lot of effort. And I know you guys hustle hard, but you're spending a lot of time on things that don't actually work. So when you start focusing on strategies, real strategies, marketing, and putting yourself out there, it's a work smarter, not harder kind of thing, and it really starts working. And I think the very, very first free masterclass that I ever did, I had this analogy about a marathon, and it really resonated with people. So I put it in this one as well. Building an illustration career, it's like running a marathon. And every marathon has 3 different types of runner. So the first one is like the super professional, trained, prepared. They have all the professional equipment. They have a personal trainer. They have like the special gels that you eat halfway through to replenish your energy. Like that person knows absolutely everything and they're just on top of the world, right? And then you have the person who's kind of winging it. They're doing their best. They don't have necessarily the right equipment or the right training. Like they're just kind of flying off the seat of their pants. They're just doing their best, but they're trying at least, right? There's absolutely no shame. I find that most of us artists are at this position right here. So we don't really know what we're doing, but we're just trying our best. And then the third type is a person who is so sure that they have no chance at all of running a marathon that they didn't even enter. This is important to mention. The reason I'm taking some precious minutes here to talk to you about this is because the only person out of these 3 that has absolutely no chance of ever making it is the person that didn't enter. As long as you're trying, there's a chance, because this person in the middle, they can learn more. They can do better. They can get better equipment. They can get a trainer. Like they're not stuck here. At least they're trying. And as long as you're trying, there's still a chance. But when you give up, that's it for you. So many of us have actually given up, and for the most part, it's not our fault. Society and everyone around us has told us that there's absolutely no chance in the arts, that it's not realistic, that it's not a good idea. We all have had this well-meaning person or family or teachers or friends that are told us there are no jobs in art. Try something like engineering, or even like go to graphic design or architecture if you like the creative stuff. But in art, it's just impossible. Have you ever heard that people around you told you that? If you have, let me know in the chat. And the thing about this is, while they're well-meaning, they have absolutely zero knowledge of how the illustration industry actually works. They don't know what they're talking about. So they're trying to help, but why are we listening to these people? These people were saying it's impossible to make a living in illustration. How would they know? How would they know? Seriously. And I'm here to tell you, like, I'm just a normal ass artist, right? I'm not a Norman Rockwell, and I'm making 6-figure in illustration. It is possible, okay? All right. So now that all that is being said, you have been trying so hard and it's not working so hot. So what is preventing your success? First of all, the first big mistake is doing social media only, right? Putting everything on social media as your only strategy, all your eggs in this basket. And social media can be great for artists, okay? I mean, I'm on Instagram, and I even have a mini class about Instagram and how to build that. I've put more time on my Instagram in the last year or so. I've started really putting more energy in it, and I was able to grow it from about 1,000 subscribers, and now I'm at over 7,000 subscribers. Well, followers, I mean. So it's definitely possible to grow, and quite fast at that, if you put enough effort into it, if you have a good strategy and all of that. But I only started doing that after I was already working as a freelance illustrator for years, right? And I did not need a large social media following to do that. And especially at the beginning, it's not great to put all your eggs there, because first of all, it takes a long time to build. When you're starting a brand new account with like 15 followers, it's a slug. You're kind of pushing a rock up of a cliff. It's very hard in the beginning. The other thing is, you can't control too well who you reach. And a lot of time we post art and we get other artists looking at it, which they're not necessarily the art directors or art buyers that we are actually looking for, our ideal client. And third, this is a passive method to find work. So this is like you're putting your work out there and you're waiting for the opportunities to come to you, just like that person who was posting in that forum that I showed you. It's much nicer, especially in the beginning, when you do active methods. You have more control over that. You can go out there and contact these people yourself instead of waiting for them to contact you. When you're doing only social media, you don't have that. So you're kind of floating, like you don't have much control over anything. That can make you feel very hopeless. The second biggest mistake is trying to do freelancing platforms like Fiverr, Upwork, those types of things. It can seem, at least at first, like a good idea, especially because it's so easy and approachable. Anyone can do it. You just make an account there, and then you can bid on jobs. And it seems like sometimes it takes a load off our shoulders, like, oh, I guess I could do this after all. It doesn't seem so difficult after all. Because approaching companies and art directors, that's really scary. But going on Upwork, that's not so scary. Because of that, there's high competition on there. Because people are like, oh, that seems fine. That seems okay. Everyone is on Upwork and Fiverr, okay? The competition there is absolutely unreal. And that makes it one of the hardest places in the world to get work. High competition, something else that it does is it drives down the prices because everyone is bidding on those jobs, and then usually the client will go with the lowest bid. So someone says, I'll do it for 1,000. Someone says, well, I'll do it for 800. And someone says, well, I'll do it for 200. And it drives the prices down and down. So that made it so that nowadays you have sometimes offers of like $20 or $5 on Fiverr, and you have like hundreds of artists fighting over these terrible gigs. It's like some sort of Twilight Zone thing where you're like, why is everyone fighting over this terrible gig? It just doesn't seem to make sense. Magdalena said, social media can be a complete waste of time. If you read their terms, any platform can just take down your account at any time for no reason. Yes, you don't own any of that. That's why I always say that you need a mailing list, because you own your mailing list. But your Instagram account is very vulnerable. And while it can be a good tool for artists, if you put everything on there, if your entire career is based on Instagram, you are in a very vulnerable position. The third biggest mistakes that I see illustrators make is trying to offer everything. So at the beginning of a career, sometimes we can think like, I'm not going to be picky, right? I'll take a client, any client, I'll do anything. Just we're trying to do all kinds of different markets and all kinds of different types of art and different styles. And we're just like casting a wide net. Maybe you're offering children's book illustration and anime and watercolor flowers, logo, basically saying, if anyone needs anything creative, just hit me up, I'll do it. And tell me in the chat if you're there right now or if you've done that in the past. Because it feels like that would be a good way to make a lot of money, because you're thinking all of the clients will hire me because I can do everything. But in fact, this just confuses the heck out of clients because they on your website and they see all this stuff, right? Watercolor flowers, anime, logos. They're thinking, what is this artist about? What do they do? If I hire them, what am I going to get even, right? I like this one watercolor thing, but am I going to hire them and they're going to make me anime stuff? Like, I don't want that. It's very, very confusing. The thing that usually happens is when we try to appeal to everyone, we end up appealing to no one by accident. That is not what we're trying to do. Personally, I noticed that when I stopped offering everything, I got more work. And I was so worried that I was going to lose any and all opportunities when I did that. But when I did that, then everything started clicking into place. And it was, for me, really, really odd. The last biggest mistake that illustrators do when they're starting out is stretching yourself too thin. This was the biggest thing that I did at first. You're trying to do Instagram and you're trying to do Behance and Twitter and you're on Fiverr and Upwork and 99 Designs and you're on Spoonflower and you're emailing everyone and you're just spread across all these different things. You look through the job forums every day. You're on LinkedIn. You post in Facebook groups. Maybe you started your Etsy shop. You're like, I'm going to sell some prints on the side. You started a coffee, a Patreon. You offer commissions. Okay, you're trying to do everything because you're like, hey, I need the money. And this is a situation where you are going to burn out in 2 seconds flat. I certainly did. I remember the first year of my career, about every 2 weeks, I had a complete meltdown, tears and everything, because I was just trying to do so much and none of it was working because I wasn't putting enough into any one thing. And now I really believe in the power of doing one thing at a time because you can give it proper time and effort when you do one thing at a time. So, I mean, I do a lot of things now, but I added them one thing at a time, right? I did it, I figured it out, I researched it, I tried different things, make sure, trial and error, making that thing work. And once it's starting to work and I'm comfortable with it and I find myself having a bit of free time, then I can start on one other thing. But when you're trying to do 5 different things and you're at the research stage of all of those things, you don't have enough time for all of this. All right. So if you try to do everything, this is a recipe for burnout. And I'm definitely not about burning you out and not about telling you that you always have to do more and more and more. I'm about doing one thing at a time so that we regain our sanity. Health is so important. It is the one thing that we have that after we squander it, we can never get it back. So this is so, so important. Juan said, mentioning Ross draws, he has an aura of stress and no free hours at all because of his business. Is it always like that when you have it already built up? It's not always like that. Honestly, I work about, I want to say 4 to 5 hours a day now, usually. I mean, last couple of weeks it was more because I was doing this, this launch, but usually I work about 4 or 5 hours a day. I have a chronic disease. I've actually just been diagnosed, but I've been living with the symptoms for years. And so I have to work around that. Now that I'm on medication, I'm actually getting more energy. But I did have a problem with low energy due to that undiagnosed illness that I didn't know I have. And so I had to work around that. And once you have a system that works really, really well, and you can add things, but I still do them one at a time. Like right now I'm focusing on this launch, so I haven't drawn for a couple of weeks. And once I'm finished with this launch, then maybe I'm going to take a couple of days and record some YouTube videos. After that, maybe I'm going to take in the next couple of weeks and I'm going to draw some stuff. I still do them one at a time. I actually have not updated my Etsy shop for a very long time because I've been doing other things. I'm not trying to do every single thing all at once. And if someone is successful, but they're always stressed, they have no free time, they're always freaking out, I personally don't see this as true success. I mean, it depends how you define it, but this is not what I want out of my life. I sometimes joke that I work hard to enable myself to be lazy in the future. I want to have it, easy. I want to work 5 hours a day and take my full weekends and relax. And so that's how I build my business. I build my business to be able to afford these kinds of things because that's what I want. There are some people who love working more than that, and that's fine. But, it all depends what you want. So when I was trying to do everything, I was overworked, overwhelmed, exhausted. I was having meltdowns. And I noticed also it doesn't even work. Because when you're trying to do everything, you're not doing any one thing particularly well either. Illustration is difficult to get into, okay? It's not for the faint of heart. So if you're not putting your full energy into one thing, how do you expect to make it work? If you're trying to do 5 different things at once, you're not giving it your all in any one of those things. So when I stopped doing all the things and I started focusing on good business strategies, that's where my career finally took off. So that being said, yes, you need to focus, but what should you focus on? And that's where I'm here to help, because we're going to start getting into not the things that you shouldn't do, but the things that you should do. Are you ready? All right. So this is where we're going to do a whole overview of my strategies. So those are the strategies that I found to work. Not wasting time with the ones that did not work for me. So these are the strategies that I talk about in my art business bootcamps in more detail, but we are going to go over all of that right now. So first of all, to develop that strategy, I decided myself to start with the goal, because when you know where you're headed and what you want, then you can work backwards from there to figure out how you can do that. So for example, if your goal is you want to stay at home with your kids and you want a job that can allow you to do that, then you can work backwards from that. If you want to do local fairs and things like that, and you want that to be a big part of your business model, you can include that in. So let's say that the goal for you is $5,000 per month. This will depend, of course, if you have a partner, if you have roommates, if you have kids, if you have a mortgage, or if you're just renting a room, then it will be different, the amount of money that you need per month. For me, it's about $5,000 per month right now that I need. I have a house now, I have business expenses and stuff, so that's how much I need. To feel comfortable, especially to feel comfortable to leave a day job, you'll definitely want some savings, because when you have a business, it's always, there are ups and downs. There are good months and then there are not so good months. For me, the summer is always super slow, and I expect it now, and I have savings for that. And then you also probably want to have enough money to put into some savings, some retirement. We don't just want to survive, we want to thrive. So once you have written down exactly what we need, let's go and get it. For making the money itself, there are different main business models in illustration that can allow you to get there. So the first one is being an in-house artist. I'm not going to talk about that today, just because that's just different. It's like getting a job, right? I'm talking about like being a self-employed illustrator with your own business. But just know that it is a possibility if you want to be. You can look for those kinds of jobs, especially if you live in a big city, and those tend to be pretty stable. You have a regular paycheck, so that can be nice. As a self-employed artist, there are three main business models that you can do, and you can mix and match, right? You don't have to do just one of those. So the first one is custom work. So basically commission work. You are hired by a company to do something custom for them. We also call that freelance illustration. The second one is licensing. So this is also working with companies, but they purchase or they rent, license artwork that you already have. So you create a body of work and then you can shop it around. And the third main way is creating and selling your own products. So currently, I personally actually do all three of those things in different proportions and usually one at a time. But I definitely suggest that you start with one. You can start either looking for clients for custom work and for licensing. Both of these things can work together with the same strategy. Or you can start making your own products. And this is especially helpful if you've been looking for clients for a long time and it's just not working for you. You don't have to wait for someone to give you a job. You could just create your own thing, right? So in this presentation, we're going to start with finding clients, just because we have to start somewhere. But just know that if you prefer making your own products, you don't necessarily have to search for clients. You can start with that part that we're going to talk about later. So how do we get that money when you are doing the freelancing and licensing part of it? So I have here my $5,000 per month, and this money pile represents savings and retirement and emergency fund and all of this. So this plus this equals the goal. I have found that to get this much money month after month, the easiest way is to target high paying clients. Okay. And that's because I find it so much harder to get a large number of commissions, even if those are low paid and you think that it may be easier to sell something that's $5. But think about it. If you do $5 commissions, you have to sell 1,001 every single month to make that money. That is just so much. Can you imagine having to sell and draw 1,000 commissions every single month? Like, that does not sound realistic at all. I don't think that you probably have the time to do that, even if you were drawing day and night without a break. But you can also do 250 times $20 commissions. You can also do 10 times a $500 commission. That's still a lot, like 10 a month, but it's starting to be more realistic. Or you can do 2 times $2,500 commission. Or you can just get yourself 1 gig, $5,000, boom, you're done. And this is not impossible, by the way. Like just recently, I made a big sale to Hobby Lobby, and once converted to Canadian dollars, and after the commission that my agent makes, it was $5,600 for that sale to Hobby Lobby. So basically, in the span of 10 minutes, I received that email and I already have my expenses for the next month covered. Boom, that's all done. It's finished. And that's why I really, really recommend that. High-paying clients, it's always better to try to go for that luxury client. It's so much easier. If you try to compete on money for your art, it's such a losing battle because art isn't a commodity. It's a luxury. And you can get those people who really truly value it and pay for it more. So where are high-paying clients? Where do you find a client who has $10,000 to spend? Do you think it would be from a place like Fiverr or Upwork or maybe commission groups on Facebook? No. No. People who have this much money, usually it is not individuals like private collectors. Usually it is companies and publishers. They have bigger budgets because they need the artwork in order to make profit for their company. Okay, so it is an investment for them. The key to be able to get those high-paying clients is to specialize. Because think about it, if you have like 20 bucks to spend at the store or something, maybe you're not too picky. You go there and you're like, man, it's 20 bucks. Or maybe you ordered from Amazon something a little bit cheap and you're like, if it breaks, I'll get another one. Like, it's no big deal. It's 20 bucks. But if you have $10,000 to spend, it's a big ticket item. You know, maybe you're redoing your kitchen or something like that. That is a large amount of money. And you're going to want to shop around, do your research, and hire an expert, someone who really knows what they're doing. You don't want to squander your money. So when someone has a big amount of money to spend, let's say a publisher, they are doing a new book and they have high hopes that it's going to be really, really good, and they have $10,000 to spend. They do not want to squander it on someone who's not going to be able to do the job. They want an expert. They're going to be extra picky. They're going to look at the portfolios and they're going to pick the person that can do exactly what they need in exactly the right style. So when I say specialize, I mean one market. That could be picture books, for instance, surface design, fashion illustration. There's a bunch of different markets. One market and one style. Your signature style is what really allows you to stand out from the competition, and people will remember you by your style. So if you do a bunch of different styles, you're making yourself forgettable. You're making yourself harder to remember. That is such a kiss of death. And I know that it can be difficult for us artists to just pick one style. It seems boring that we have to do this all the time. We want to do all kinds of different things, but you can still do that. You can still change your mind later. First of all, you don't have to do it for the rest of your life. I've already changed my style once during my career so far. In 6 years, I started in vector style, and now I do more this kind of watercolor style. So I decided to change it in the middle, and I did. Just do one thing at a time, right? And then it's just for your portfolio, okay? It's like your resume. You put only the relevant stuff in there, and you want it to be consistent, and you want it to be a strong pitch. But if you then want to spend your weekends doing anime illustrations in your sketchbook, you do that. There's no reason you can't do that, okay? But there's also no reason that you need to put it in your portfolio. Your portfolio isn't everything you are as a person, as an artist. It's just a pitch. And it does need to be consistent and streamlined in order to be able to convince people to get you the job. Catherine said, I felt overwhelmed trying to find an agent, and I think my portfolio is not ready yet. I need to tailor it better for clients and agents. I mean, I think that it's definitely worth it to try it. You lose nothing by trying. When you're sending out your portfolio to companies, you can send to agents at the same time and just see what happens. You could be signed or maybe not, but it can take a long time to find an agent. When I left my first agency, I was doing picture books, and then I switched to surface design. And so I also switched agents at this time because the first agent wasn't really doing any licensing stuff. So I quit, and then it took me like 1.5 years to find a licensing agent because it's so competitive to get into. And mind you, at the time, I was already getting sales myself. I'd already been a professional illustrator for years. I was already super professional, experienced, and making sales, and it still took me a long time to find an agent. So don't wait on an agent, but then also you don't lose anything by trying. So starting to put it all together, you have your goal, and for that you need some savings and you need a recurring monthly income. To do that, we're going to get high-paying clients. And to get the high-paying clients, we want to specialize and have our consistent portfolio. So a specialized portfolio, it means one style, one market. It also means showing your artwork in the correct context. So, for example, if you want to go for a picture book illustration, then you want to show picture book illustration in your portfolio. You want to show them what it would look like in a book. You want to show actual pages, putting it in the right context. Because I see a lot of people just putting random pretty pictures in there and thinking the art director is going to visualize in their mind what it will look like. No, okay. You have to show them exactly what they're going to get so that they can know if you can do the job. And the last thing is showing specific skills. Every different market requires different skills, and you have to show those skills in your portfolio in order to get the job. So in picture books, that's storytelling, good composition, perspective, character design, those sort of things. In surface design, completely different, a whole other set of skills. Maybe they want to see Christmas art, and they want to see decorative, and they want to see lettering. It's completely different. And that's why when you don't specialize, often you can't show the correct skills that the person is looking for, and that's why you're not getting the job. Milquia said, art directors are the most finicky folks. Show exactly what you can do because they will not bet their career hiring someone new without the exact work that a book will have. Yes. And the thing is, if you have more experience, they can feel more comfortable hiring you, but that does not mean that you can't get the gig if you're brand new, if you're showing exactly what they want. So if they have, let's say, a picture book about fox and they want it to be in watercolor, and it so happens that in your portfolio you have watercolor foxes and it's exactly what they want, then they know, oh, this is the person. And it doesn't matter anymore that you don't have experience because you show exactly what they need. And they are super finicky because, as Milquia said, you know, if they want foxes, they're going to look for someone who has foxes. And if you have dogs, they're going to be like, oh, well, it's dogs, it's not foxes. I'm not hiring that one. It can be that ridiculous, okay? And that's why when I do emails to clients, I have this whole thing and I have my methods to be able to kind of find out what they need so I can show them what they need. And I have this whole method. I call it the network method, and it helps me find that out. Janet said, do I need multiple portfolios? No, don't do that. You do not want to do that to yourself. That's so much work. Just specialize in one thing, then you only need one portfolio. If you're not specialized, then you would need like 3 or 5 portfolios. Who has time for that? So this part here, you have your specialized portfolio, and then you need contracts. In the middle, there's a communication that needs to happen. You need to put your portfolio in front of art directors. And there's actually multiple different ways to do that. There's trade shows, you can send postcards, but those things, and there's more methods, but those things typically cost money. So I always suggest to start with email because that is free. You can send as many as you like. It's a great way to start. So emailing art directors is the next step in the process, which brings us to how to contact art directors. Layla asked, should I put my picture book illustrations on my portfolio even if it's not published yet? Yes, absolutely. They need to see examples. They don't care if it's published or not. They just want to see your skills. Esteban said, do chapter books fit in a different market than picture books? It's all publishing, but it's a different audience. So I would call it like a sub-market, because imagine, you know, baby books for 2-year-olds and chapter books for 12-year-olds. It's a vastly different type of needs. Catherine says, my first job I got was through a cold email. It can work, absolutely. So I often hear artists have trouble with emails. Some even say that it's a complete waste of time. Some people say, you know, I've sent 10 emails, 20 emails, and I've never heard anything back. It's absolutely not working. And yet, my entire career on emails, it can work super, super well if you do it well. But many people do not do it well, and that's not your fault. It's because the current best advice on how to email is just horrible advice. It's very outdated. It has a low success rate, and everyone does the same thing, so art directors are tired of seeing it. So the current best available advice is what I like to call the classic query. And the nice thing about it is that it's simple, short, to the point. It's very easy. I do like that. It's a quick intro, a link to your portfolio, and saying, I'd like to work with you, please hit me up. So it's very, very simple. It goes something like this. Good morning, art director. My name is Vanessa. I'm a picture book illustrator. I love the work that you do, and I would like to do that too. I'm writing today to submit my portfolio. Here's my website. I've been illustrating for many years. You will find some examples on my website. Do you have a project we could collaborate together? I would love to hear from you. It looks like nothing is wrong with this email, right? So what do you suppose is wrong with this email? Little quiz. So in the first year of my career, I sent hundreds of emails like this, hundreds. And I found that it was a very slow slug. From my personal experience, I receive about between 2 to 8 replies for every 100 emails sent. And I've actually, over the years, gotten less and less good results with this method instead of better. That's because it's getting more competitive. And this, cookie cutter, simple, boring email is getting less and less effective. So I have some people in chat saying that it's too long. It is a bit long, but it's not that bad. It's pretty straight to the point. I say that between 2 and 8 replies for every 100 emails sent is way too low, especially because most of those links will be rejections. So, what are we doing? This seems like such a waste of time. Not efficient whatsoever. Magdalena said it feels like it's not specific enough for the target. That's good. That's good. Catherine says that was exactly my ratio. Over 100 emails, only 1 contract, about 20 replies. Yes. So it's actually not that bad. 20 replies for 100 emails, that's better than my average. But it's still not that great. Wouldn't you agree? Why is the reply rate so low? First of all, it's because this kind of email is asking too much too soon. You're like, hey, you don't know me, but give me a $10,000 contract. How do you think that's going to go over? I always use this analogy that when you do social media, when you post on social media, it's like sitting at a bar and waiting for people to hit on you. But when you're contacting clients, if you're approaching someone at the bar, and it's more proactive because of that. And we're going to use the same analogy here because it works for explaining this very thing very well. Imagine you approach someone at a bar and you ask them, will you marry me? Whoa! Hold up there, cowboy. You don't know that person. It's a complete stranger. And the classic query, that's exactly what you're doing. You're hitting up someone and you're saying, hire me. It's just too much too soon. They don't know you. They don't know if you're going to do the job. They don't know if you're professional. They don't know if you're going to hit the deadlines. They don't know anything. Melissa said, I keep hearing adding an image as attachment will often get it to spam and only send your portfolio link. What is your opinion? Personally, I like to do the link and I like to put in an image, but I put in the body of the email, not as an attachment. So that's what I personally do. Not only they will judge you on your art when they're deciding to hire you, but also your other qualities. Like if you're trustworthy, if you can meet deadline, if you can take critique, if you're nice to work with, that sort of thing. And it takes time to know if you're going to be that person, right? You have to build some trust. You have to show them you're professional, all of those sort of things. And I'm mentioning this because I have a lot of people say, I know that it's a big ask, but if my art is so pretty, they're just going to fall over themselves and they're going to be like, oh, this art is so good, I have to have them. And honestly, that does happen sometimes, but it's pretty rare. Most of the time, they're not going to stake their career on you if they don't know if you can meet the deadline, okay? Because when they agree to give you a contract, they are spending the company's money, and if the artist runs away with it, they are the ones that are going to be taking the L, okay? And they're the ones that are not going to get the promotion. The second reason why this sometimes does not work well is because they don't necessarily have work for you right this moment. Just imagine, put yourself in an art director's shoes 1 second. How many projects do you imagine an art director has at any given time? Maybe you've never thought about it before. Do you think they have like 500 projects? No, they're not hiring artists all day long. Let's say they have 10 projects they're working on right now. And that seems pretty busy to me. Maybe half of those projects are in pre-production, right? If it's a publisher, maybe they're talking to the author and developing the manuscript. So they're working on a project, but they don't need an illustrator yet. And then maybe the other half already have an illustrator and they're already drawing it right now and they don't need someone else for that. So that leaves you with, at this moment, maybe they're looking for no one. Maybe they happen to be looking for one artist right this second, but maybe not an artist who does your style. They'll be looking for something specific. Let's say they have a book to illustrate and it has to be super cute and colorful and super like pop art in your style, in your face, you know, colorful. And you send them like the soft watercolor, poetic. Maybe they love it. Maybe they're like, oh, wow, that's so gorgeous, but not what I need right now. And so they don't reply to you, because no matter how much they love your art, there's a very good chance that they just cannot hire you right now. And since they're busy people, they're not going to, most of the time, they're not going to spend the time to write you an email explaining, so I really like it, but unfortunately right now, sometimes they have like a canned response and it can seem very disingenuous. Sometimes you're like, oh, they just say that to everyone. So most of the time, they know also that they're going to disappoint the artist and that the artist is going to be sad and maybe take it really badly. So why would they spend time in their day to do that? They can just ghost, not reply, and move on. So usually that's what they do. And that's how you end up with 6 replies when you send 100 emails. The third reason that it sometimes doesn't work so well is because that email sounds too demanding. And again, my images didn't load. I'm so sad. So I know that when you send an email like you don't mean to be demanding, you're just shooting your shot, right? What's wrong with that? But just, again, put yourself in art director's shoes. They receive like dozens and dozens, sometimes hundreds of emails exactly like the classic query every single week. It feels a bit repetitive. It's overwhelming. It's like they're an ocean of, please consider my portfolio. It's just so repetitive and there's just so much of it. Not only you're asking too much too soon, and not only you're asking for something they may not even be able to give right now, but you're also getting lost in a sea of emails that all sound like begging for a job, which is not a good look. So what do we do instead? Okay, I always love to start with what not to do, but then I do also want to tell you what to actually do. Stop thinking about what those companies can do for you. We all know that. We all know like, oh, they're going to hire me and I'm going to be so happy and I'm going to get money to do what I love and work with, you know, Scholastic. It's going to be so cool. We know that part and they know that part. Okay, start thinking about what you can do for them. It's supposed to be two-sided here. You're doing something for them, they're doing something for you. And sometimes we forget that part. You also need to showcase your knowledge of the industry and of their needs, okay? So by acknowledging that maybe they don't have work for you right now, you're like, hey, I've been here. I know what I'm doing. I know you maybe don't have a job for me right now, but maybe we can talk for the future. You know, that sounds so much better to them because it puts them off the hook. They're like, oh, okay, they know. They know that probably this isn't going to be a contract right away, but they want to like start a conversation. That's good. Think about their needs and you can ask them about their needs as well if you don't know, and emphasize the value you can provide their company, right? The what you can do for them part. So to give you an example, most emails that artists send sound like this. I'm such a huge fan of your brand. It's my dream to work with you. Please, please, please give me a chance. Whoa, like imagine being an art director and you're getting this all day long. The thing is, they have a job to do. It's a business. They're not going to give you a job just to be nice or out of the goodness of their heart. They're going to do it if it is a good fit. So instead of, you know, you would make me the happiest bride in the world if, no, stop right there. Instead, try something like, and it doesn't have to be the exact wording, but this is the idea behind it. my artwork appeals to the same audience you are targeting. I believe that using my art on your products would be very successful. I believe that this would be a great collaboration that would really fit your brand. Those are good things to say that really will emphasize what value you can bring to their company. Also, I suggest to revise your expectations. Do not expect a contract on the first email, because as we've said, that getting that timing right, where you are exactly the style that they need at exactly the right time, it will take a few follow-ups emails before you get to that point, okay, to get that timing right. So instead, have your expectations to try to get that conversation started, start building trust, start adding this person to your network. A lot of artists, they expect to be getting a contract to the first email, so they get so disappointed. And that's where you're at risk of giving up. Where you're like, I sent emails, no one said yes, that means I'm terrible and I'm just going to go cry in a corner and never try this again. So start with the right expectations. You are building your network, you're starting conversations. And follow up often in order to catch the perfect timing where they actually will need you. That was the email part done. And now for that $5,000 a month, there are things that you can do apart from just sending cold emails, is building your client list. So that network, okay, not just sending to more different companies, but sending multiple emails to the same companies, building your client network. There's also a newsletter that is great in order to be catching up with a lot of people at the same time. If you can, start building that conversation with people and then get them on your newsletter, that you can remind them that you exist regularly, so that then when they do have the perfect gig for you, they will remember you and they will hit you up. Catherine said that follow-up could be through email lists. Yes, it could be, exactly. Through newsletter, you can do your follow-ups. They have to agree to be on there though, so you have to ask them. The other thing that you can do is an agent. Again, that can be quite difficult to get one, but eventually it's a great thing to add here, and it helps you do your monthly quota. So when you're building your client list, you're getting an agent, you're starting to build your thing, a great way to make recurring revenue every month and be able to hit your $5,000 a month or whatever it is, $4,000, $3,000, is to get repeat clients. So I remember the very first picture book that I got, I worked on it for like 3 months. And after it was finished, that publisher was so happy with the job I did that they immediately hired me for another one. So I had 2 book deals in a row. Recurring clients can be amazing for that. They already have worked with you, so you had a chance to earn their trust. And then they keep coming back every once in a while with new projects. That's really making things easier for you. But in order to do that, you need to do a really great job. You need to impress them. And that is things like taking critique really well, being super professional when you're with them. They're asked to make changes. No problem. I got it. You don't get angry. Excellent communication. You always keep them updated during the projects. And then, of course, hitting all the deadlines. So you have to really organize your projects very well, plan accordingly, not overbook yourself. And this is also why it's important to get high-paying clients, because if you have low-paying gigs, you have to have many of them at the same time to be able to make your money every month. And because of that, the quality sometimes will suffer because you have so much stuff to do. And you don't have time to, keep them appraised of every single step. And you don't have time. Sometimes you will miss deadlines, or sometimes you will have to cut corners, and sometimes you will have to spend the whole night drawing to hit your deadline, and the artwork just won't be quite there, okay? So it all works together. When you get the high-paying clients, you have the time and the budget to do a great job. And because of that, they might also come back, making it easier to make money. It's a whole thing. And lastly, to build your savings and investment and things like that, and also have just in general a sustainable and resilient business, it's great to start diversifying your income at some point. So like I said in the beginning, you can make and sell your own products, or you can get client work, or you can do both. If you don't want to do client gigs at all, you could do your own thing, art shop, commissions, print on demand, but I still recommend not to put all your eggs in one basket. So maybe you can have a few different facets to your product line. Maybe you can sell at craft fairs locally, and you can also sell online, for example. Or maybe you can have two small art businesses that are in different audiences, things like that. So when one is down, you can use the other one. But the main thing is that you're going to want to first establish the first revenue stream, whether that's clients or a shop, and then establish a second one after you're already comfortable. But having those multiple things can really help you with a sustainable business. So to give you an example, I started with freelance and licensing clients, and then I added an Etsy shop. And then after, when I was very comfortable with all of those things, then I added my YouTube channel and started teaching. So now I have these three things at once. But if I started with all three things at the beginning, I don't think I would have gotten anywhere. That would have been way much to chew on all at first, okay? So whether you start with an art shop or you add one later, that is fine. But it requires also a lot of marketing strategy to open an art shop. You can just create it and people will come. You have to do your research. You have to create products that someone actually wants. You have to create products that is very well suited for your audience's needs. You have to market it properly, a whole strategy to launch your products, to make sales. So this also requires business. It does not sell itself ever. So we're done with the bulk of the class here. I know that we covered a lot. How are you feeling right now? I have some gifts for you. Kitty number 1, wow! Or kitty number 2, no, I hate all of this. Kitty number 3, I have all the power. Or kitty number 4, I'm kind of fried right now. Kitty number 5, super excited. Or number 6, super happy. Tell me in the chat which one you are. Alicia is number 4, a little bit fried. I know the feeling. Elise is number 1. Wow. So we have some 4s. We have 3s. Number 5, yeah, super excited. 6 and 5, 6, 5, 6, 5. A mix of different things. A mix of 4 and 5. So excited, but a little bit fried. I know that especially at the end, we had to go a little bit fast. I definitely wish that I had more time, especially to cover that last part, making products, because that's a whole thing. But we have already been here for like an hour and 15 minutes. Unfortunately, I didn't have time to talk more about it. But marketing strategies to create your own products can be also so fascinating. Once you understand how to get people interested in your products and get them coming back, the absolute power you have unleashed. You can do anything then. That's so amazing. Thank you for coming. So I did want to give you a little offer. And now, if you want to learn more, and if you want some help to implement those strategies, I have a mentorship program, and it's actually very affordable. If you would like to join that, I will pop the link in the chat. Let me just pop that in the chat. It is called the Art Business Bootcamp, because with all of the strategies and knowledge that I gave you today, while that's all nice and good, you need to implement it, because if you don't, it's not going to do anything for you. So it's all about what you do now. You can take all the information that you learned today and you can run with it. You can try to do more research on all the different topics. You can do trial and error and figure out how that will work for you. But if you want a shortcut, there is an easier way, because I have this mentorship program where I can help you implement all of this and give you all of the information and help you every step of the way. It is a 12-month mentorship program to help aspiring illustrators like you implement this method. And it's really a step-by-step thing. So my mentorship program is called the Art Business Bootcamp, and you get mentorship for an entire year. So if you're tired of feeling unsure of your next steps, or maybe if you love the information that you got today, but you're like, I would like some help to implement that because it was a lot, then this is definitely for you. If you're thinking, I'm an artist, not a marketer, I'm feeling out of my depth and I need some help, then this is definitely for you. Lael asks, is it for beginners? Yes, it is. It starts from absolute scratch. And this is the program that I wish that I had when I was starting out and I wasn't sure what to do, because it's a complete roadmap. And the power that it gives you is it takes the confusion out. You always know what the next step is and what you need to do next. And it guides you through the process so you can avoid all of those mistakes that make you lose a lot of time, a lot of energy, and a lot of hope. This is the Art Business Bootcamp. So it is a 12-month program and it's $75 per month. Someone asked, do I pay at once for the whole year? No, you pay month to month and you get new content every month. So the nice thing with that is that, like Sophia asked, is it a 12-month commitment? The whole program will take 12 months. But if after 6 months, your financial situation changes and you can't afford this anymore, you can cancel at any time and you don't have to stay the entire time. Okay. So that's nice. You will get, if you stay 6 months, you will get 6 months worth of content and 6 months worth of lessons and mentorship. And if you need to leave after that, you need to leave. You don't have to pay for the entire thing. If you stay for the entire thing, 75 times 12 is in total $900. But it is nice that it's like split up across the months. It makes it more affordable. And I do like the option for you that if you can't stay, you can't stay and you haven't spent the whole money. Juan said, does your mentorship allow conferences for doing questions? We are doing a live group mentorship, but we can also do one-on-one. So I take questions by email one-on-one. And if you prefer to do a live call, then I can do also live calls with people. I really like email because I get to think about my answer and make it sound smarter. But some people prefer Zoom, so we can do that. Just hop on a call, stay 30 minutes, talk through your issues. We do that as well. Tony said it's quite affordable and it sounds reasonable enough to pressure you to take action. Yes. So that is a big thing because if you've been here for a while, the Art Business Bootcamp existed before. They were a kind of self-paced course. You get in and you get all the information and you go through all the lessons by yourself. But I found that some people had trouble with the kind of motivation because it is quite a big endeavor. It's a huge undertaking and you can expect that it's going to take at least a good 12 months to go through all the steps and actually build your career. And I find a lot of people, when they're just left by themselves with all the lessons and all the information, it can be difficult to keep up the motivation throughout this extended period of time. So having, new lessons unlocked every month, having the group coaching, being able to hit up someone when you have concerns and have the whole group do it all together, it gives such good motivation. There's 32 lessons in total split over 12 months. There are so many bonus materials, including my entire contract template, email swipe files, a pricing calculator, all of that stuff, and unlimited one-on-one support. No questions unanswered. The first part of the bootcamp, that's the first 3 months, we're learning how to build your specialized portfolio. So how to pick your ideal market, my reach method to find your style fast. This is an acronym that I developed to find your style like right now. Those two things, picking your market, picking your style, this is the content for month 1. This is already available on the platform, and the students that have already joined are currently working on that, currently working on finding their positioning in the market. After that, we're going to work on everything you need to include in your portfolio, what skills you need to showcase depending on what market you're in. My method to develop your portfolio, I call it the 12-piece portfolio plan. Exactly what pages you need for your website and what content you should put on them. If you're wondering, what do I say on my about page? And do I need a projects page? And all of that stuff demystified. And step-by-step tutorial on how to build your website. On this part of the course, student Nicole Ledru-May said, I just finished lesson 4 and I am blown away. What a fantastic tool the portfolio planning workbook is. I listened to a lot of talks on what to include in a portfolio, and I don't want to knock them, but I never came away with an exact plan like I will once I have done this exercise. It's so clear and action oriented. And that's what I'm all about. I like to organize things so that you always know your next step. So you always know, okay, I do this and then I do that and then I do this. I demystify it for you. After the portfolio part, we learn how to find your first clients, how to research companies and art directors, How to email clients. So I have given you some information today about how to email clients, but I'm sharing with you a bit more in depth my methods, exactly what to say. I have the email swipe files, and my students have said they really like those swipe files. Some of them have used the emails, literally copy paste, and they've told me some of the results that they had. Like someone said, oh, I had someone who told me no, and then I used your email for a follow-up after a rejection, and then I was able to get them on my mailing list, and it's all like whew, amazing. These are my best emails that always work for me. My network method, again, this is an acronym. I kind of like acronyms. My network method to get 10 times more replies from art directors, because if we're building a relationship with them, trying to get their trust, we can't do that when they don't reply. So I have developed methods to get them to reply more often to you so you can get that started. After that, we're covering how to follow up, which I think is even more important than the first email, because it's very likely that you're not going to get something from the first email. Sales and contracts happen in the follow up. So this is like super important part. And then exactly how and when to send your pitch and shoot your shot. About this part of the program, Paulina said, I gave your network method a try with local shops and galleries. So Paulina, she had some stickers and postcards, and she was trying to get her local shops to carry them. And she was emailing them, and she wasn't getting a lot of replies. So she tried my method, and she says, most reply within a day, and a third of them were interested to meet or discuss further. I guess it does work. Thank you so much for sharing this brilliant strategy. Afterwards, we're going into negotiating your contracts. I think this is month 6 or something. This is the content for month 6. Every month, you're getting new lessons unlocked if you have decided to stay. Lael says, which months will the bootcamp start in? The bootcamp starts now. If you sign up, you get the content for month 1 right away, and the content for month 2 unlocks October 1st. So next month. It is September 1st today. So negotiate your contracts, how to price your work fairly. And the thing I like the most about this lesson is I have created this pricing calculator. It's like a spreadsheet with formula, and you just like put in your numbers and it gives you an idea of what you should charge. Then we cover everything about copyrights and usage, because that is also super important. As illustrators, we are in the business of intellectual property. We can't just price our art depending on how much time we spend on it. We really have to charge them for how much money they are going to make out of it. So that's where I explain all of this. How to negotiate to get the best deal. How to demystify contracts. I know that all this legal talk can really make your head hurt a little bit. So I have a whole lesson where I explain all of these clauses, what that means, and which ones are good for you or not. And I'm even giving you my full contract template so that you can do your own contracts with clients if they don't already have a standard one that their company uses. Lael says, can we start in any month? No, you cannot. The way that I built this program, we're all going through it together as a group. So it starts right now. And when the places are filled, I have 60 places right now, less because we had some people sign up. I think we have about like 2/3 of the places left. And I'm closing the doors and following and teaching this group for a year. So you will not be able to sign up again for an entire year. I'll be reopening it next August. So if you're interested, you really have to get in right now, because you won't be able to all year long. I want to be able to control how many people are in the group, because it's mentorship and there's just one of me. So about this part of the bootcamp, Lucia had to say, I didn't know practically anything about contracts, copyrights, royalties, or how to price my artworks. I found it very difficult to find good and exhaustive courses about this kind of subject. The worksheet for the survival and thriving rates, which is an exercise that I have in the course, was like an epiphany. So after all this pricing and contract stuff, we have lessons on how to impress your clients. This is on month 7. So how to plan and organize your projects like a pro. I'm even giving you a digital planner that I designed myself for organizing your projects. what to do when something goes wrong. Sometimes during projects, things happen and your client is doing something, what the heck are they doing? And so I have a scenarios and solutions guide for you. How to get repeat clients, how to get an agent, and how to start a newsletter. Of course, how to get people on it as well. About this part of the project, Arlo said, I completed my 12-piece portfolio plan the other day and sent it to some publishers and agents. I immediately received a reply from the Lemonade agency, and today I have officially signed with them. This is a good start, isn't it? Yes, it is. Without your lessons and suggestions, it would never have gone so smoothly. Arlo was one of the first ones to join my very first boot camp. That was 2 years ago. And to this day, he's still with Lemonade Agency and he's doing really well. Then afterwards, the whole last 5 months of the projects are about diversifying your income, creating and selling your own products. So we go over how to find the right product and audience for you. We learn about different monetization methods. There are different models. You can do subscriptions, you can sell at once, you can do like monthly boxes. Like there's so many things that you can do. Patreon, print on demand, different methods, and we go over all of them. And Melkuya said, such a trooper, Amara. Seriously, she stayed there until 4 a.m. I can't believe it. Honestly, I feel so honored. I would be so tired if that was me. So after the monetization method, we go over marketing for artists. So this is a whole thing. It's several lessons long, and I teach you how to market products, how to make sales, basically. And this is the knowledge that is going to set you free, because once you learn how to sell products, you can make anything you want and always be able to market it and sell it. It's amazing. And we go deep as well. We don't just go like super surface level stuff, like post on Instagram about it. No. We go into consumer psychology, like what they need from you to be able to trust you enough to buy. Sale funnels, email marketing, and more. How to successfully launch your products. There is a way to launch it so that people are ready to buy from day one, not just launch it to crickets. And so I explain how to do that and how to make sales consistently. About this part of the program, Jan Bauman said, this program gave me an in-depth understanding of how to run an art business that is multifaceted and successful. Learning how to set up a mailing list and build a sales funnel was incredibly helpful. The part that was really eye-opening for me was learning about lead magnets and how to get people interested in what you're doing. I couldn't figure out how to do that before. And just everything changes for you once you understand that, like how to get people to want what you're doing. So helpful. So now it's your turn. If you've always been wanting to build your illustration career, if you've always been wanting to make a living with your art, and of course, if it's in your budget to spend that kind of money on a boot camp, then let's do it. It's your turn to build the career of your dream. I know that starting a career in illustration, that's quite difficult to do. It can be confusing. It can be overwhelming. So if you don't have to do it all alone, you don't have to. Let's do it together. It's a lot more fun that way. The great thing about this new version of the bootcamp, unlike the self-paced course, is that you get a mentor. You really get a lot of one-on-one help. And this is what I noticed was really missing from the old bootcamp. A lot of people were hitting me up by email, even though that wasn't technically in the program, because every career is different. And everyone did really need a lot of one-on-one help to figure out how that works for me and how I can implement it. And sometimes it's confusing. I spend a lot of times in my emails with students just bouncing ideas off of them. Do you think I would be better for trying to make products about this or about that? Or do you think this client is a good client for me, or do you think I should wait for something better? All of those very individualized situations. And so in this iteration of the bootcamp, I built in a lot more coaching and help. So there are the group coaching sessions, which Personally, I love these sort of things. It's very motivating to just hang out as a group, ask your questions kind of in a public setting. It can really give you motivation as well to like finish the content before the group mentorship. So you can show up with your assignments and show them to me and everything. But you also get just unlimited coaching from me directly anytime that you need it. If you have a question, you don't have to wait for the group coaching session. You can ask it to me at any time. No questions will go unanswered. That's why I'm only taking 60 students, so I'm able to really give care and attention to every single one. You can get feedback on your portfolio, on your assignments, and later when we're building different income streams, if you want me to review your shop, or if you're like, okay, so I have a plan for like what product suite and the price points and the marketing methods, can you review that? I will always review that. There's also a private community on Facebook. Right now, all of the alumni from the Art Business Bootcamp are in there. So we already have some people in there that have been through the course that can help you out with some questions. You can show your artwork. So you can get some opinions, share your assignments. Again, it's another way to get mentorship as well, not just from me, but also from the community, and that can be really cool. It's always fun to go through this as a group, not just yourself at your computer alone going through the lessons, but we're all doing it together. Something that I also failed to mention, all the bootcamp students also get 75% off all of my other mini courses. So if you decide, for instance, I want to know more about surface design more specifically, more in detail, then you can get that course. I have a course about surface design, and you get 75% off of that just because you're a bootcamp student. About this part of the bootcamp, the mentorship part, Shrija said, a lot of times I have wondered what I would be doing now if I had not come across this course. I must also say, Ness is one of the sweetest persons you could ever meet. She's always there to guide you and never gets annoyed. I always love to chat about art, so I can never get enough of that. I know how many email conversations I have had with her and how many times I have run to her for suggestions. Yes. I will always be there for you. That's what the program is all about, is every step of the way. If you need help, I'll be there. Brenna Ray said, Vanessa is a warm and exceedingly generous teacher. No question goes overlooked, and she makes sure she is available to address any concern we have, big or small. It's easy to see that the Art Business Bootcamp is not merely a job to her. She truly has a heart for struggling artists with big dreams, and it shows. Oh. When I read that, it really made me so happy because it is true. The Art Business Bootcamp takes time away from my drawing time. So I'm doing it because I really love you guys. Siobhan said, the picture books portfolio prompts is a fantastic course. Thank you, Siobhan. So yes, if you're interested in picture books and you will also like to get a bit more specialized information in that, with the 75% off coupon that you get with the course, that gives it to you for like $14 or something instead of $57. So it's really a big discount. I'm glad that you enjoyed that course. These are more testimonials and reviews that we had from our alumni bootcampers, Yvette, Emilia, Andrea, Maria, Ahmed, and Shrija. So basically, this program, the whole idea of it is to give you all the knowledge, tools, and support that you could ever possibly need so you can go into your career prepared. My promise to you is by the end of the 12-month program, you'll have the knowledge and the confidence to run your own successful art business. So mentorships, as we said before, they typically can be quite expensive, and that's because they're really, really efficient. I've seen mentorships go for anywhere from $2,500 to $5,000 for just 6 months. And while I'm sure that this is worth every penny, I'm also very aware that for an aspiring artist that hasn't even started their career yet, that can be really difficult to afford. And I didn't want to make it unaffordable or just for people who are already rich or for people who have a day job. I wanted the most people as possible to be able to afford it if they wanted to. So I crunched the numbers and figured out that $75 per month is the lowest that I can possibly go for the amount of information and one-on-one support that I give in this class. And I'm really hoping that this is something that you find reasonable and affordable and that anyone who wants to join can. So this is it. This is the last slide of the presentation. And if you've been here this whole time, thank you so much. You stayed here for 2 hours with me. There's still 33 people live right now. So thank you so much for hanging out with me. It was really, really fun. I hope that you enjoyed the course, the free class, I mean, and that you got a lot of it. Even if you don't intend to join the bootcamp, I hope that you got enough information to go and run with it. And this is one of the illustrations that I made for the program. You can tell I had a lot of fun. I took like 2 weeks straight just to draw pretty illustrations. And I have to admit, it was as much for me as it was for you guys, because I had fun drawing these things. If you have any questions that you thought about later, and it doesn't even have to be about the bootcamp. If you have a question about anything that we covered in today's presentation, about the teaching, the tips, you can ask me at info@artbusinesswitness.com. I'll be absolutely happy to answer any of your questions. So for right now, that was it for me. Thank you so much for coming. I had a blast. I hope that you did too. And I hope I'll see you soon. I'll see you around, either on Facebook or in my emails or on YouTube, or maybe even in the bootcamp. I'll remember all your names. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out with me. And I'll see you later. Bye-bye.